welcome to You Make the Difference. I'm Wanda Walker, and today we're talking to Diane Colson, who was the host of You Make the Difference. And in 2012, she passed that on to me, and we're so glad to have you.
I'm so glad to be back. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Wanda did so much for us for several years, and I knew when it was time to pass the mantle, she was the lady to do it. So I was so excited that she agreed to take it, and you just continue on, and that's good because this community needs that program. And I dropped my mic.
And also, I know that the people who were following you in 2012 will be very glad to hear from you again and know what's going on with you. So tell us what you've been doing since 2012.
Well, it's been an interesting journey. I was sharing with Wanda right before the program some of the things that I've been through. In the fall of 2012, my mother came to live with me, Jack and I, over in Pine Mountain. And so really for the last 5.5 years, I've been seeing to her care and overseeing all that, and it's been quite a journey. So that's what I've been doing, but I want the program today to not only show you what God can do in my life, and I know that there's probably many caregivers out there that are going through similar situations that I am, and I want to encourage you today that God's got you there for a purpose. It's going to teach you some things that probably you otherwise wouldn't learn. And so you just hang on and trust the Lord that in all things, it works together for our good. And I'm believing that, and I want you to believe that today as well.
Because it can be a hard process, right?
It is. It's the hardest thing I have ever done, and I've gone through a lot of things. Divorce and remarriage, blended families,
yes.
Lots of things
yes.
that have been quite challenging, and God has seen me through each one of those. But this has been the most difficult because it carries so much sadness, because I know at the end of the journey, when the journey's over, even though I know she's going home to be with the Lord, that will be the end of my time with her here. And so it's, when you have a baby and those babies are doing all these frustrating things, they're growing up and they're going to get better.
Yes.
And this is kind of the reverse. And so it kind of messes with you, or it has with me.
Yes.
Because it continues to go down,
Yes.
And Mama's at a stage now that I truly will be surprised if she makes it through this year, but we'll see. I mean, God's got a plan, and I've watched through this last 5.5 years, He's shown me things, like I told you, that I would have never known otherwise. And so it's been challenging.
Yes, yes.
And
what are some of the things that the Lord has shown you through this journey?
Well, probably 6 months into it, Wanda, I really didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not a caregiver by trade,
Yes.
And that's true. And I still know that to this day. I would do it for my children or my husband, but that's probably about it, other than mother. But about 6 months into the journey, I just broke one day in the living room and began to cry out to God. And I told Him, I said, I can't do this. It's killing me to do this. And the Lord said to me so clear, the Holy Spirit sometimes, I feel like He wants to go, to me, because I need it. But the Holy Spirit was so gracious, but He said, that's what I want it to do. I want it to kill you. I want you to die, Diane, to yourself. He said, so many of my children, talk about serving me and talk about doing things for me, but they're not willing to put their life down for me. And I'm going to teach you to do that through this process.
Yes.
And believe me, it's been a process.
Yes, yes.
I'm still learning.
Yes. And so, it just makes you wonder what He is going to do with that experience after it's over. So,
I don't know, Wanda. One thing the Lord reminded me of about 2 weeks ago, and I forgot to share this with you. I was in the bathroom getting ready, and it's like He reminded me, probably 35 years ago, He called me when I started singing a little bit publicly.
Yes.
He called me to the nursing homes to
Yes.
sing, and I don't mean anything about the nursing homes do wonderful things, so please don't misunderstand. But as a young woman, I really did not like going into nursing homes. I guess it just unnerved me for whatever reason.
Yes.
And back then, but that's where He sent me, and to start out singing and to grow in grace and confidence and stuff like that. That's where I was. And so he reminded me of that. So I don't know. I mean, I may end up being an advocate down the road for the aging. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But we'll see.
And at the end of your life is where you really probably need that encouragement the most, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like my mother, when I look in her face, I know that she's comfortable, that she's with me, and
Yes.
she's secure, and that I give her that now. And it's a gift.
Yes.
Not only for her, but for me to know that my mother knows she's loved and wants to belong.
Right.
I think that's one of the things when I think about the aging. And again, this is not, everybody's got different situations, and I want you to understand that, you know, there are people that have to work. There are people that have personality dysfunctions where
Right.
it just don't work, and I get all of that. So
Yes.
what I'm sharing today, it happens to work for us.
Right.
You know, and I know God's assigned me to do this too. And so at the end of this thing, maybe we'll have a little more clarity when it's
Yeah.
over with why. But I feel like a lot of times there's another gentleman that we love, and I'm not even going to call his name right now, but right now he's in a facility, you
Yes.
know, and all, and he struggles. And I think when you really realize the aging have a hard time giving up their life that they've always had, you know, their independence, their dignity. There's so
Yes.
much that at the end of life sometimes that we lose those things, and it's a hard battle for them and the families as well to go through. It's really sad to watch.
Yeah, and today is his birthday.
I know. I
Oh,
already
isn't it
wished him
sweet?
a happy
Yes.
birthday today.
So
Precious man.
I know he is. Now tell me how it's changed your life.
Well, I know that's still in process. I had a lot of work. The Holy Spirit has a lot to do. Have to work on me. I know they've got several angels probably constantly. I'm gonna help her. I'm gonna help her. But I really do have a lot more patience. And it's funny that you say that, ask that question, because I'm not a real patient person. But I have found myself because things just go in slow motion.
Yes.
When you're working with an aging person, I mean, it takes several minutes to get to the bathroom and back, and that kind of
Oh,
thing.
yes.
Feeding, you can't go in a restaurant and think you're going to just eat your food up and be ready to go in 5 minutes. You may sit there 40 minutes or whatever for them to get their food, completed and eating. And so I've had that happen to me publicly. I'll be standing back or whatever, and I've had other people say, "Well, you're so patient. Thank you for being patient with me." You know, or
Yes.
whatever. If you're standing in a long line, and it's funny that you say that, because that's one thing that I've truly learned is more patience.
Yes.
And I needed it. So, and I don't know. I will share this with you too. I had an experience back in Easter in 2016. I told you I got Mother all cleaned up and had her sitting in her chair, and we had an accident, and so it wasn't a good accident, and
Yeah.
so I just bathed her and got her fully clothed, and she looked nice, and I had to rebathe her and get her ready again, and it just tore me up. I mean, just really messed with me mentally. It does mess
Right,
with you.
yes.
It seems like when you've got the parent that taught you don't do these things, and then they're doing them, it's like it'll kind of mess with your psyche a little
Right.
bit. And but anyway, I was walking outside. I went after I got her cleared and got her back in a recliner to rest. I was walking, and I was looking at the house and just pondering on this process of what I'm going through. And the Holy Spirit said, "You are your mother's burden bearer."
Yes.
And so when I knew instantly I needed to go back to my Strongs and see what that meant. And it means that you become an extension of that person. And it was like when I read that, I am her arms.
Uh-huh.
I am her arms to clean up her mess. I am her strength to help her get back
Yes.
to the chair. I am all of those things, and I
Right.
become her extension. And so it was quite a learning experience for me. And I just pray that somehow when we're through with this journey, because I know Mother's saved, I'm not worried about her eternal destination. It must be about me learning some more things, is what I believe. So, and I know when I finally get it, He'll take her home probably.
It reminds me of the Holy Spirit, how the Holy Spirit is an ever-present help in the time of trouble. And so you are her help in the time of trouble. And you're ever-present, you know, right there by her, going through those things with her. Yeah.
You know, Wanda, one of the things I want to stress is don't run away from things God's calling you to do that you don't want to do. I would have never chosen this journey.
Yeah.
Really, I wouldn't have. And one time, probably 3 years into it, Mother said, honey, I know you didn't think I was going to live so long, did you? I said, Mother. I really never thought about it. But then after she said it, I thought, well.
No, it didn't.
No, not really. I didn't think I'd be doing this several years, you know. But I will tell you, as painful as it has been a life-changing event for me. And so if you know God's asking you to do something that you just don't want to do, I want to challenge you to do it today, because it will change your life. It will change either the direction of your life, the way you think about things, and all of that.
Yes, because He wouldn't ask you to do it if there wasn't going to be some blessings and rewards in there, would He?
No.
If there wasn't purpose. And
no.
Yeah, He has something in mind.
And you know, I was sharing with Wanda, I had worked for my parents 20 years, and in all of those things, you know, all of us have some aggravations in life and stuff like that. We may not have saw our parents in a certain way that we think that they should have been or whatever. And so even though we didn't have major issues, and I know there are people out there that have some major issues with their parents, but I can tell you that through this journey of loving on her and watching that childlike face and working with her, it's the Lord has taken anything that I may have been aggravated at her about away.
Yeah.
And so that's one real blessing.
That is a blessing.
That, you know, because I don't want anything. And the older you get, I don't know if you're like me, I don't want to be aggravated.
No.
I don't want to be mad at people. I don't want to cause trouble.
No.
I just want peace.
Right.
You know, don't you?
Yeah, and to be happy.
Yeah, peace and happiness and loving people.
All right, so this past November, tell us what happened to you.
Okay. All of you know that when I was here, I used to sing some, and you know, when we lived in Memphis, I cut an album. Well, I thought I was going to start a singing career back then.
Yes.
Now, it did not happen, but it did open the door to come to TV 33 when it was TV 33.
Yes.
And so, which was a blessing for me. And but then in November, and I wanted to write songs back then, but it was so dorky and stuff that I was trying to do. It didn't, even poor Max New couldn't help me. Max and I worked together trying to do some stuff, you know. But it just wasn't, it never worked for me. Well, on November the 4th, let me back up. In October, I had spoken to a guy named Jonathan Bond. He used to come down from Chattanooga and do the show with me once a month, every month.
Yeah.
Precious man of God.
Wow.
And Jonathan is a Dove Award winner. I mean, he's written some really great songs.
Yes.
And I saw him on Facebook, and I messaged him. I said, would you consider writing Mother a song? Because it never dawned on me I was going to do it.
Oh,
you know, ever.
okay.
Ever.
Yes.
Okay. And so he messaged me right back, said, I'd be honored to do that. And I said, well, whatever the cost, I just would like to do something in honor of her memory.
Yes.
And so he said he would do it. So that was like the 19th, I think, of October. And I've got all this documented. That's what's so
that's
cool.
great.
I know. But on November the 4th was a Saturday, and Jack was getting ready to go to work, and I was in the kitchen, and I started hearing the verse of this song.
Yes.
And I mean, before the morning was over, I had written this song about my mother and her life.
Yeah.
And I was pretty blown away. But of course, at that point, I heard no music. I like to sing, but I don't play instruments, and I really don't read. I mean, I can tell when a note goes up and down, but I don't read music, you know. And so I couldn't write it.
Yes.
And so, but I called Jonathan the next day, and he was traveling, and I read him the poem, thing, and he said, oh my goodness, he said, I started something, but send me that and let me see what I can do with it.
Okay.
And so then I didn't hear from him, and of course Thanksgiving was coming, and I didn't want to press him too much. And on December the 9th, it was a Saturday as well, I went in there to fold some clothes, and I started hearing this tune.
Isn't that great?
And I sang it in my iPhone because I knew I would forget it. Really.
Yes.
I mean, because I'm just not talented enough to remember that stuff. And so anyway, my friend told me about the loft in Columbus and the recording studio that was there. I had no clue. Went down there, met Jesse Shelby, fantastic young Christian man. And he and Lloyd Buchanan, I know many of you know Lloyd. Lloyd actually did the arrangement. And so I had some fabulous talent around me.
Yes.
And we laid the music. And I didn't tell you this either. This was a really cool part. My dad, when he passed away, I inherited his 1946 Gibson acoustic guitar. And so I had some new strings put on it a few years ago, and I called Jesse the night before the recording. I said, do you think that the guitarist would be interested in playing my dad's guitar just a little bit? And he said, oh, Diane, he loves that kind of nostalgia.
Yes.
So I took it, and Neil Lucas, I'm going to get it back up here.
Okay.
Neil Lucas is the guitarist on the song, and he played Daddy's guitar all the way through. And it was like my daddy came back to life for just about an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the coolest thing to do experience, you know. And so Daddy's guitarist played on that song as well,
so
and it was
cool.
beautiful. Yeah.
God always weaves things into those precious moments that make them even more precious.
I mean,
doesn't
it
he?
was amazing. He cried when he came out of the booth, and he told Jack what an honor it was to be able to play, you know. And so I just, it's an honor of her life. My mother and Daddy wrote each other. My dad was in the Navy, and they met through, my dad's roommate was my mother's best friend's fiance, if you can get that. So, and because my daddy was from Georgia, down in Buena Vista area, and my mother was from Virginia, and they rode each other 2 years. When he got out of the Navy, he got on a Trailways bus that night and rode up to meet Mother, and they married 6 months later.
Oh, wow.
And so that's part of the story.
Yes.
Yep. And so then after that, we got it recorded, and the next thing, my husband wanted to do this, which I'm so glad he did. He wanted to do a video. And so Don Tipton from Columbus did the video, and I just think he did a fabulous job. I'm prejudiced, but I think he did a phenomenal job.
Yes.
And everybody in the video is my mother's children, grandchildren, or great-grandchildren. And I couldn't believe this either. Let me tell you one more little nostalgic thing. When y'all see it, the young man that comes off the bus in the Navy uniform, that is my daddy's 1946 CB's Navy uniform. And Ethan wore it. I could not believe that boy could wear that. And I couldn't believe my daddy's waist used to be a 28, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it fit him like a glove.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just so awesome.
Everything to the T.
Everything worked out. And then at the end of the video, Mother blesses us and talks about her faith in the Lord. So I pray everybody will enjoy it.
Now, why do you believe the Lord gave you this song?
I think it's still to be seen, some of it. I think part of it is to be able to give back to her while she's still here and to let her know how precious. I knew she watched over me when I was little, and I hope I can say this without crying, but that I'm watching over her now till she leaves. I'm going to stand by her side until she's out of here. And I think it's just full circle, because I think he's probably going to take her soon. And I think he did that to help me complete this journey.
Yes. Okay, and so why did you decide to do the video?
Well, Jack really wanted to do it. He felt like if we put the visual with it, you know, and once the guys, once the guys were recording it, actually, Jesse told me one day, I said, do you really think this is a good song? And he said, Diane, I'm just telling you, I see it on a big stage.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means, and I don't know if that'll happen, but I know a big stage is heaven.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my daddy gets to see it, or my grandmother, that, you know, is my mom's mom. I don't know if she'll be able to see it, but I'm hoping that they will be able to look in a portal and see what's going on down here, you know, for a moment. So I don't know, but I hope you enjoy this video, because it's from my heart. It is through pain. It's through love. It's through a lot of different emotion. But I just wanted to bring it back up here to a place that I feel like I connected with you guys for so many years, and I just wanted to pour back into the community again some love, and that's what I did it for. So I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yes, it's called Mama's Hands.
The Lord has always been the center of my life, and I don't know what I would have done without Him, and I hope and pray that He is the center of your life. I wish God's blessing truly from the depth of my heart for my whole family.
Say, I love you, Mom.
You feel all that love.
All right, Diane, that's precious.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's from my heart to yours.
Yes. All right, do you believe everyone should care for their aging parents?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think that would be fair to say. We all have different circumstances and situations in life that allow us to or not to. You know, Jack's able to provide for us, and Mother and Daddy, he left her very well, so we don't have to worry about money.
Right.
And so there are issues sometimes that prevent us from being able to do that. There are personalities that I'm sure that would prevent it. I don't know if I could really care for my dad and have to bathe my dad and stuff. There are issues, you know what I'm saying, that you have to think about. So I don't ever want to put that on anybody, but I will say, if God has made a way where you can financially do it and and you love the Lord and they love the Lord, I think it would be a blessing to you. I really do. It's been a real blessing for me to watch this process. It's been very hard, but it's been so many things that I know I'm going to recall. And I really think I
Yes.
might do a book eventually on it as well and talk about the different pieces of the journey
Yes.
to help encourage people to do it. I do say this. I think sometimes we in America, and this isn't being hard on anybody, we take the easy way out. And because there are good facilities and we feel like we can justify putting them there because we don't want to put down our own lives sometimes for it, I just ask you and challenge you to pray about it. Know that it's God's will for you to do that. Don't sidetrack something that God, because you'll have to come back around and do something again. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because He's trying to get each one of us to complete and to press into the things He sent us here for. And I believe part of this journey is pressing me where I would not have gone otherwise, to probably press out of me more of the precious Lord.
Yes. So in caring for a loved one, what's one of the main things that you feel like a caregiver can do to take care of themselves?
You got to take some time. And I still have a hard time with balancing that. You need to have time for yourself. I mean, you really do. I just took a 5-day respite. I put Mother in hospice for 5 days. And if your aging parent or person that you're caring for qualifies for that service, every 30 days or so, I don't put Mother in that often, but every 30 days, you can take a break. And you need to take those breaks because it's important that you don't forget who you are in the process by pouring out. And you do get in that cycle. I've done it several times where you just reach a point of burnout.
Yes.
So you've got to take some time for yourself.
And what about isolation? Does the person feel isolated, and does the caregiver feel isolated?
Yes, we do.
Talk about
Yes,
that.
we do. I don't think Mother, where she's at mentally, would probably feel that isolation, but there's a lot of aging people that are still really in good shape mentally.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
And I know when I used to go to the nursing home, how those were so thankful and grateful and would tell you over and over again how much it meant for you to come and sing to them, and stuff. And so I know how important that is. And even as a caregiver, we stopped going to church, not by choice, but because of the circumstances. And so we're not doing that right now. And we've stepped back from that. And the Lord, I'm still doing what I know the Lord wants me to do. But we've stepped away from that right now. And then, when you can't run with your friends and your buddies and they know you can't, it's not that they don't love you, but you can't be out there running with them.
That's right.
And so you do find yourself, I've found myself at times getting isolated. And I have to press to get out and make myself go do and be a part again of something. And you can find yourself, well, what do I do?
Yes.
You can.
And also, I was thinking about, like, with siblings, you are the main caregiver. Can you recommend some things that people who, the other children in the family could do to help you and help your mama?
Well, that's kind of a situation that I'm sure varies, but it does seem like once a child takes that on, it seems that it might relieve the other ones, and it's not that I feel like everybody has to participate. There are some lucky family members that will do that. They'll rotate family and that kind of thing. But I think the biggest thing is probably the emotional needs and just listening to the frustration that you're going through, or that when you're having a bad day or whatever, that you feel like you've got somebody to call and just share that with. And I know you might not want to hear it, but to be able to share it with somebody is very helpful.
And and it's nice to share it with people who love that person too.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things they can do. And maybe say, look, you need to go out and eat with your husband tonight. I'm going to come sit with Mother for you to take that break or whatever. I think those are important things.
So just little things.
Little things.
Yes. Okay, so now how can viewers see the video? And
We're going to have that on the screen. So all the connections and stuff, it is on YouTube. It's called Mama's Hands. And Don Tipton is the videographer. So, you know, you can go that way, but we're going to have it at the bottom of the screen, I think.
Yes, that's right.
So they can make sure they watch it. And please watch it. And if you want to comment on it, please do. I want to hear the feedback because I'm excited about it. And with Mother's Day coming up, you know,
Yes.
I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it a bunch.
Okay, and what do you see happening in your future when your mama does go home to be with the Lord?
Well, I know I'm going to still love on people.
Yes.
I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like yet, but I just want to share the love of Jesus Christ because we're in such an awful place right now in America. My heart breaks to watch it's like venom or something. We just hate each other. It seems that way, and I know better, you know, but I want to be a voice. Just like you've been a voice, I want to continue to be a voice to say, Jesus Christ is the answer. Political parties, all these things, we just get so divided, and I know I have my opinions, but we've got to realize that Christ sent us here for a purpose, and we've got so much to give, and we each one, whether it's through caregiving, sharing a good word to somebody, paying for somebody's lunch, doing something. We can be kind to each other.
Yes.
And get through this thing.
That's right.
And not hold hatred in our hearts.
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I mean,
And,
really.
you know, sometimes you just have to stop watching the news and look at what's going on around you in our community and see that it's so much better than the news portrays it.
It is.
Yes.
Yes, and you've been such a vital part, Wanda, of carrying that torch here in LaGrange. And I know that, and I thank you for that. And I know the people in this area do too, because you do. You hold that standard up, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And you do too, Diane. And I just want to say I appreciate all the years that you were here on this station and doing, We've Got the Power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it started out
I
as.
know, we've got the power and you make the difference. And we just want to remind you out there that you truly make a difference.
Yes, you do.
And we appreciate you. Thank you for watching.
Got a promise from heaven. It's a year of replevin. Got a promise from heaven. It's all coming back.